Hey everyone, just keeping you updated with my day. Looking at various sort of aspects. We were talking about yesterday how we were planning about how we could roll out our self-employed proposition, and the difficulty with that it's massively complex. With trying to develop a proposition which is both attractive and appealing, but also obviously it's got to be profitable for us. So we've got to create a system that's which is basically a win-win for everybody. And there's so many intricacies when considering these aspects, which is really, really interesting. And you've got to really drill it down from each persona's perspective. And I think that's one thing I learned a lot working on the tech startup business with some really super clever guys. One of the guys I was working with was a director. What was it called? UCB? No, I can't remember. It was a big bank. It was a big American bank. I got UCB, but I'm not sure if that's correct in my head. So UBS. Thank you. You'll probably make some comments on that, I'm sure. And yeah, and it was really, and sort of going through that journey of starting the tech business, I think it's really given me some great skills in terms of I can sort of put that into the finance business. And I think one of the massive important elements with starting any business, and in a way, I know this business has been up and running for 9 years now, which is brilliant. And obviously I've learned a lot through that process. I think the reality is, like I said, you can learn something new every day. So I think one of the aspects we're looking at is, this self-employed proposition is effectively, it's almost like starting a new business with really trying to sort of, with a growth strategy, because obviously we could tick along, happy where we are, we've got good volumes, good business volumes, great clients, and we'll just tick along, nicely. But I think the reality is, I want to create something which has a far greater reach. We want to help so many more people, and to do that, we need to think about our strategies, how to reach a wider audience. And I think one of the frustrations I've always found is being based in Devon. As much as I love Devon, it also frustrates me. For the lack of probably our profile of clients that are here, and obviously in Exeter and Plymouth there's more of the profile of clients that we need, but certainly in the more rural areas there isn't. So I think that's always a frustration. Obviously if we were based just in the cities, it's probably more set up for our type of clients which fit our profile. Which is fine, and that's it's no disrespect to the area we're in. It's just the realities that we exist in. So, but the amazing thing with the internet, of course, is we do have a wider reach. We do have an opportunity to have clients in London, to have clients in Bristol, to have clients in Manchester, and all over, which is brilliant. And obviously we're working on that anyway. But I think fundamentally with our industry, we need to create a much wider team, and really focus on that personal service, and obviously increase our distribution channels. And I think one of the ways, and it's a common way within our industry, is to build up more advisors throughout the country, and to build that team where they are effectively your distributors. So really to build that proposal and that proposition is really challenging. And I think bringing it back to what I was talking about with the tech business is you've really got to focus, and this is what I'm trying to do, is focus on who are the personas, who are the groups of people who we're going to be trying to appeal to, talk to, and join us. And certainly, one of the obvious ones is the existing advisor community, who maybe it's somebody who's a mortgage broker who's been in the industry a year, 2 years, 10 years, however long, and offer them a proposal which is both strong, credible, and beneficial for them. But equally, I think, I really want to reach out to, and give young people an opportunity to come into our industry. The reality is our industry is full of a lot of, it's not full of, but there's the majority is the 40 plus male dominated industry. And I think I'd like to encourage, younger people to come into our industry. I know there's a huge shortage for young people entering our industry. There's huge barriers. So, if we can create some sort of training program for them to come in and then they can sort of plug into our system, that'd be fantastic. And there's no reason why we can't do that. A lot of that's is ready to go, which is quite interesting. But equally, so we need to look at the proposal and the proposition for both persona groups, both in terms of the newbies as well as existing advisors. And to some extent, even with the newbies, it could be slightly different with possibly, mums who are looking to return to the workplace after having a family, professional sports people who have finished their career and now considering, what options do they do next. Or people in the military who are leaving the military and, or police force who are leaving the police force and still, wanting to do something afterwards. Indeed, one of our guys actually is a sergeant in the police, and he's only in his mid-40s, but because he was, he entered so young, he's been forced to retire at a certain age, which isn't too far away. He's been with us on a part-time basis for a long time now. So I think there's lots of those different sort of persona groups that we need to target and talk to in their language. And I think, so, those learning experiences of, with a tech business and focusing on the personas and getting that core message out to that audience and tailoring the message for them. The overall proposition might be very similar, but I think that's the approach we need to take, and that's the approach I'm taking. And I think for any business out there who's starting out, before you start building and really focusing too much on the product, focus on actually think about those groups who you're targeting and making sure that you're solving their problem, whatever their problem is, and look at it in that way before trying to figure out what the solution is before you know who you're talking to. So I'll keep you guys informed of that, because I think it's not going to be a 5-minute job, certainly, in terms of really planning it and structuring it. So initially what I'm doing at the moment is just focused on what is our unique USP in terms of our overall proposition. And there's lots of things within our business model which is massively different from 99% of the industry. So what our unique USPs are, what the service proposition is going to be for them. Again, how can it be different? And we need to really shape that and map that out. And just making it a really viable product. So that's really challenging, and we need to really also be careful and thinking about, for me, I think building a team of people who absolutely want to feel part of a team. And whenever you're dealing with leads and inquiries and trying to be fair, and in a sales environment, I think that can have challenges, because obviously it can create competition, which competition is great, but you don't want to create an environment of everyone sort of stabbing each other's backs and trying to get one over the next person. So I think we just need to really carefully think about that and work out how when we create leads, how we can distribute them fairly and a million and one little tiny elements that we need to work out. The reality is, if I'm honest, whatever we do, whatever you guys do when you're growing your own business, is you're not going to know everything from the get-go. You're not going to be able to figure it out. I think all you can do is just try and strategize, plan, think about the issues, and do the best that you can to solve them. Having said that, inevitably when things start rolling out, it's going to be a case of, I didn't think of that. That's an interesting problem we've got, and you're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to tweak the model. What do I call it? I call it failure, pivot, and go and make it a success. So the reality is, it'll probably fail. We'll probably pivot, and then we'll move forward, and then we'll make it a success. I think that's just the reality of the world. So so that's quite good. And today, again, just working on a lot of our sort of social media bits and pieces. A few podcasts. Had a podcast published today, which was our second part 2 with Will Lamberton. Again, for those of you who haven't checked out Will Lamberton or checked out the podcast, just have a look on Instagram. Will Lamberton is a fantastic photographer, and like I said on the podcast, he's really going out there to start offering a proposition for small businesses to gain traction, gain new clients, and work with influencers to help sort of publicize their products and services. So yeah, fantastic young guy. I mean, the guy's only 18, and what a smart head on his shoulders for such a young guy. And it's inspiring to see, and it's so pleasing to see young people entering that entrepreneurial business world and going out there and getting it. I think that's amazing and fantastic. And I think, in a way, I think any person who's young, who's ambitious, just go for it, because I think the reality is, if you can live with your parents and you've got minimal commitments and minimal risk, this is the perfect opportunity to go and create the business that you want to create. And with the world the way it is these days, you can make a business out of a phone, and that's what Will's did. And that's enabled him to now launch into other areas. So it's it's a fascinating world we live in. So that was a bit of just a daily recap, and there's lots of other bits and pieces on, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But listen, guys, hope you all had an amazing day. As you can see back there, the sun is shining, loving a bit more warm weather, which is amazing. Need to get out a bit more, but lots more to do. And yeah, keep tuning, guys. Support, thumbs up, subscribe. If you see this little face, I'm not sure if it's there, it might be up there. That's my little subscribe button, so I'd love it if you can subscribe. And keep tuning into the daily. This is a new thing that we're doing. I think it's a nice thing to sort of share with you my day, the journey, and keep tuning in for much more, guys. Take care.